Patagonia, land of endless plains, a fantastic world of ice and rock, but also a land of wind and distant dreams. Our journey begins in the deepest south of Argentina at the end of the world, within a natural paradise between both sky and earth. Tierra del Fuego, America's wild south, a land of fire at the end of the world, located between Chile and Argentina. We visit the Argentinian section of Fireland and arrive at Ushuaia, the southernmost town in the world and gateway to Antarctica. It's a small town that's experienced a great boom in recent years. It's become quite industrial and is also the center of Fireland's tourism. Both small and more recently large buildings form a kind of patchwork. The town is a combination of mountain village and fjord settlement. Ushuaia surprises at every corner. The small town contains many sights, but it's the unusual variety of things to see that makes it so captivating. A mixture of color and liveliness, but also of bleak decay. It's difficult to believe that not so long ago, nothing but the wooden huts of Anglican missionaries stood here. "360 criminals were forced to build their own prison here. The sheltered bay was ideal for the first Europeans to arrive here to lay anchor. Around 10,000 people settled here in those early days. Harberton Farm is a popular visitor attraction. Our first stop is Terra Del Fuego and its Siberian Huskies. Here, various types of huskies are bred. The road leads on through swampland and past small lakes. Again and again, the Beagle Canal comes into view. It appears in the distance and soon it's quite close. In a remote bay, people collect seashells. But then we approach our final destination. The trees up high are shaken by the wind and look like flags. Flags waiting to wave in the wind. The Beagle Canal accompanies us to the end of the road, Harberton Farm. Around 8 kilometers outside Ushuaia is a small timber-built train station, another popular tourist destination. From here, a narrow-gauge railway leads to the Tierra del Fuego National Park. As the train departs, the small engine steams and toots and slowly rolls out of the station. A short journey begins. The small train lazily crosses the plains, and after about 45 minutes, we reach the terminus. Passengers exit the train contented and take another glance at the small carriages. Now we're among pure nature, at the end of the world. The Tierra del Fuego National Park was founded in 1960 and is very accessible. Over 63,000 hectares cover the border with Chile, surrounded by snow-covered mountains that survey the land. From the nearby mountains, the Rio Pipo flows in wild cascades onto the plains. before serenely flowing out into the bay beyond, a confusion of small, steep-sided islands, and in the background, snow-covered mountains. This is the furthermost tip of the South American mainland. The journey along the Beagle Canal is a particularly worthwhile experience. In Port Ushuaia, boats begin an excursion into a fascinating natural landscape. From amid the water rises a mighty rock, the Isla de los Pájaros and los Lobos. The ice-cold water on the border of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans provides sufficient food for the numerous wildlife in this region. The boat approaches our main destination, Penguin Island, where this wonderful creature lives safe and secure. It's fascinating to watch these cute animals waddle and swim. In the southwest of Patagonia is the Torres del Paine Nature Park. It's situated on the Chilean side, close to the Argentinian border. One of the most fascinating landscapes on Earth. Crooked trees and strangely shaped trunks create a truly magical atmosphere on our journey to the first glacial lake. Suddenly there's another spectacular sight. The Lago Grey appears with mighty mountains in the background. By boat, we travel to the impressive Glacier Grey at the southern end of the Patagonian icefield. Here, the ice masses of the glacier meet the waters of the lake. It's an amazing sight. Massive chunks of floating ice slowly break away in dramatic fashion. At the time of the sheep estancias, horse was the most important means of transport for the caballeros in this remote part of Chile. Sheep have been banned from the national park, and now totally natural landscapes have returned, as is also the case in the Lago del Toro area. The immense variety of plant life here has now made this nature reserve extremely well known. The Rio Paine that flows through the northern part of the park is known for its varied walking routes, although for most of the time this region can be quite stormy. The surroundings of the Salto Grande are one of the most captivating areas of the entire park. The untouched landscape and unique climate favor an abundant variety of rare and endemic plants, color wherever one looks. A world of tranquility and isolation with an impressive mountain backdrop. Wind, water, ice and rock, each has formed this landscape over millions of years and created scenery that is totally unique. The raw power of the untamed white foaming water that rushes by is real evidence of the natural forces that manifest themselves here in the center of the park. And the variations in form of the old and weather-beaten trees is almost without limit. with fabulous beings spotted in the tree trunks and amazing shapes in the branches of this mysterious forest. Large steps have been cut into the rock, but they were not created by man, but by the forces of nature. A unique natural paradise that each year attracts around 80,000 visitors. Since the inauguration of the park, it has become increasingly popular. Wild guanacos live in families that usually comprise up to 15 members. The young are forced to leave the herd when they're between 12 to 15 months old. Guanacos belong to the camel family and are plant eaters. They mainly eat the fresh grass that grows in abundance here. Surrounded by steep, rocky slopes is yet another picturesque lake, Lago Nordenskjöld. At the end of the last ice age and the retreat of the glaciers, around 14,000 years ago, wildlife re-established itself in Patagonia. This marvelous wilderness provides the ideal habitat for the local wildlife. Also, the surroundings of the Lago Sarmiento have become popular for the observation of wildlife. Here, the natural world of Patagonia is, despite slight encroachment by man, as pure and untouched as it was thousands of years ago. Rock, water, and indigenous plant life combine to create a perfect harmony of nature. North of Torres del Paine, in the Argentine section of Patagonia, is Calafate, capital of the Departamento Lago Argentino, and also one of the most fascinating landscapes in the world. With around 12,000 inhabitants, it's easy to get around this small town that was founded in 1927. The inhabitants of El Calafate have fully adapted to the requirements of the tourist industry, and the region's new airport has added to its success. Despite its tourist industry, the town has its own unique charm and is extremely popular with international visitors. Folk music and magnificent arts and crafts are extremely popular with one and all. El Calafate is gateway to the huge Los Glaciares National Park, a remarkable natural habitat in the heart of Patagonia. Despite the harsh climate, the local vegetation is surprisingly varied, although both wind and rain are evident throughout the year. The people have adapted to the climate, and the wildlife enjoys the remoteness of the untouched landscape of this timeless wilderness. The landscape is one of the world's regions of which little is known. El Calafate, the capital of the glaciers, is situated on the shores of an impressive lake, Lago Argentino. The decks of the excursion boats provide a wonderful view of the surrounding mountains with their high, snow-covered summits and mighty glaciers. The Lago Argentino, that measures around 1,500 square kilometers, is located amid the Los Glaciares National Park. Several mountain rivers, as well as the ice of various glaciers, flow into the lake. And floating icebergs are one of the most popular attractions. The huge icebergs of this large Argentinian lake originate from the glaciers in the southern part of the Los Glaciares National Park, such as the Uppsala Glacier, currently the largest glacier in South America. In contrast to the Uppsala Glacier, the smaller and more southerly Glacier Speccazzini is not visited by normal day trip boats. The Los Glaciares National Park owns part of Patagonia's inland ice field, a 22,000 square kilometer layer of ice. From 47 ice flows, 13 large glaciers are situated on the Argentinian side, and their waters flow into the Atlantic Ocean. Glaciers and ice flows originate from snow. The compressed snow becomes glacial ice, and through melting and freezing, it eventually turns into a flow. It moves into a valley on a layer of water, where the ice breaks off from the edge of the glacier. Finally, the journey on the Lago Argentino comes to an end. The Perito Moreno Glacier was created due to the merging of several large ice flows. A newly constructed road now makes it accessible by land. It was once known as the Bismarck Glacier. Its name is derived from the Argentinian scientist and geographer Perito Moreno. It is in the warm months of summer that the largest sections of ice break off from the glaciers. It's a magnificent natural spectacle, accompanied by loud, thunderous sounds. It's like looking into another world, one that is full of primeval power and mysterious beauty. The long journey from El Calafate in the north to El Chalten is, for most of the journey, uneventful. We seldom encounter other vehicles. And then the legendary Fitzroy Mountain comes into view. It was named Volcano by the native people. El Chalten does not have a long history, as this village close to the Chilean border was founded only in 1985. In winter, only around 100 people live here, but in summer, the village springs to life. Visitors from all over the world are accommodated in the small inns and restaurants of the village before commencing their various journeys into the wilderness beyond. Tourism is also booming in this remote location. From El Chalten, our journey travels past waterfalls in the Valle de las Vueltas to the Lago Desierto. The 3,406 meter high Fitzroy Mountain is one of the most famous natural landmarks of this region. And again, waterfalls, a dramatic sight within an unspoiled wilderness. In contrast to the barren world of glaciers, there are also densely wooded areas and moors. The exotic species of animals and plants are the greatest treasure of this remote landscape. In the clear, melting water of the glaciers, trout are plentiful, and the knocking of woodpeckers sounds from the trees. A remote natural paradise at the edge of civilization. Now we reach the Lago Desierto, that is not only famous due to its beautiful location. The 530 square kilometer lake was once an explosive political focal point as it lies on the border between Chile and Argentina. Fortunately, border conflicts have now been relegated to the history books. It's difficult to believe that this was once the scene of the final border struggles of this region. The majestic, snow-covered summit of Fitzroy Mountain can be seen from here. Back again in El Chalten, there's a chance to go on one of the many walking tours of this area and to make for the best vantage points. In addition to the steep incline, it's the strength of the wind that makes progress increasingly difficult, and some of the gusts are particularly powerful. However, both flora and fauna have gradually adapted to the harsh conditions of this region. Rare plants flank the way. Next we reach our vantage point, and the immense mountain massif of the Fitzroy appears in all its glory. Here, the weather is very changeable. Indeed, in just a few hours, it's possible to experience all 4 seasons of the year. As suddenly as it becomes dark, the sky brightens up once again, and the peaks of the Fitzroy appear. There's also another scenic highlight in the nearby surroundings of El Chalten. From a distance, we can see the melting green waters of Lago Viedma. We embark from a small landing stage to the glacier. The contrast of the modern excursion boat that is equipped with all the latest technology and the untouched wilderness could not be greater. But a most spectacular adventure still lies ahead of us. The journey to the Viedma Glacier is not limited to travelling by water. Passengers disembark the boat by a convenient jetty. After a short but steep walk on a path that has been cut into the rock, we reach the edge of the mighty glacier. Among the most beautiful and unforgettable impressions on the eternal ice are the many deep caves that have been formed according to prevailing conditions. In some places, individual rocks are enclosed within the ice. They are a reminder of the enormous might of the glacial ice that forms this landscape. Clearly, it's not only the natural beauty of the glaciers that is highly prized. It's also the fresh water that they supply that is very important to our planet. An almost forgotten icy paradise. Patagonia is one of the oldest landscapes on Earth, a beautiful world of rock and savanna, created out of fire, water, wind and ice, and subject to constant transformation.